Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Energy Newsbeat Daily Stand-Up. My name is Stuart Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. I'll tell you what, it is crazy on the news desk. I was up till 2:30 watching President Trump win the election. Very happy for him. Very happy for the country. You can't buy that kind of entertainment. Let's go over the top stories for the day. Trump return will slow, not stop U.S. clean energy boom. I'll give you my opinions on this Reuters story. More Iran sanctions and drill baby drill. Oil market future is still uncertain after Trump. I got a few opinions about that one too. Rare bees halt Zuckerberg's nuclear powered AI dream. You can't buy this kind of entertainment. Here comes Europe's stock up on LNG ahead of winter. I'll give you a prediction coming up around the corner. And then a follow up from Michael and I talking about nuclear energy from Westinghouse and South Korea for Bulgaria. This story happens to be Russia's nuclear energy diplomacy explained. Pretty good article on it. So buckle up, hang on, and let's get ready for some fun things. I just want to give a shout out to President Trump and everybody, Scott Pressler, who was out there working in Pennsylvania. I want to give David Blackman with blackman.substack.com a shout out, and Larry Schweikart, who we had podcasts leading up to the election, covering all of the election materials ahead of time. Just want to give them a shout out as well. Trump return will slow but not stop U.S. clean energy boom. Listen to this. Ed Harris, energy fellow at the University of Houston. I don't think a Trump president can slow the transition. This is well underway. I think he can do a little bit more than that. There's a couple things. I don't know that he has the ability to stop what's in the Inflation Reduction Act or the Porculus bill, as Dan Bongino would say. I don't think he can repeal it, but he can sure, if they steal the House, if they redo the House seats that are now in question, that's where the budgeting is, and he's going to have to do some wheeling and dealing in order to get things done. However, he does have the authority and he will be able to stall or shortchange energy deals from going forward, very much like the Biden-Harris campaign has done, administration has done with the LNG exports. They buried reports and held up LNG development for our great allies and everything else. I don't know that Trump would do that. I actually think Trump is more ethical than they are. You could see a new administration come in and they could very quickly begin to cut budgets or restrict the freedom of agencies to do certain things. I think he can really do some good. We don't need the offshore wind farms. I think wind farms are fine if they can fiscally sustain themselves. Haven't seen one yet that can do it, but if you can, let's get after it. Let's go to the next story. More Iran sanctions and drill baby drill. Oil market's future is still uncertain under Trump. U.S. oil producers are looking forward to less regulations on crude oil production under a Donald Trump presidency. I couldn't agree more. The American people don't realize that the U.S. administration under Biden-Harris has cost the U.S. taxpayers trillions of dollars through regulatory actions put in place. Conceptually, the impact of a potential Trump term on oil prices is ambiguous, with some short-term downside risk to Iran's oil supply and thus an upside price risk, said Goldman Sachs commodities analyst, but medium-term downside risk to oil demand and thus oil prices from downside risk to global GDP on a potential escalation in trade tensions. Here's my prediction. I believe that with the growth and the sigh of relief that the world has now come out and said, we are glad that President Trump is in office because Putin is now going to negotiate for a Ukraine settlement. You're going to see potentially Taiwan not get invaded. You're going to see a very different world coming around the corner. That means people don't want wars. So I think with you don't have wars, you have higher demand in oil and gas. And this goes back to the old Turley's law, if you would. The more money we spend on renewable energy, the more fossil fuels we use. Those numbers have held up true over the last 4 years, and I'm trying to get it all put together into a report. So when you take a look at U.S. and oil and gas production hit highs under the Biden administration, think of what we could have done if we had a energy friendly administration and really trying to tee up long-term contracts for LNG export, which would have helped the environment. And in fact, you've got California going along, and I'm sorry for ranting for half a sec, but Governor Newsom has teed up Californians to import gasoline and diesel from China. Let's go to the next story. Rare bees halt Zuckerberg's nuclear powered AI dream. Couldn't happen to a nicer fellow. Meta's plans to build nuclear powered AI data center were scrapped due to the discovery of rare bees at the proposed site. The incident highlights the growing tension between big tech's increasing demand for energy and environmental concerns. I have no idea what bee they found. If it was a yellow bee or a yellow jacket, don't know. But I think it's kind of funny that they would hold up bees for Zuckerberg for an AI nuclear facility when they are halting drilling over a lizard that there's a bazillion lizards out there, but yet they will halt drilling for it. No idea. I'm not sure if it was because Zuckerberg came out and was nice, said some nice things about Trump, and the agency then wanted to shut him down. I do not know. Amazon to invest more than 500 million in small modular nuclear to power a nuclear named Surge after 3 Mile Island plan to restart from Microsoft. Nuclear is back. I'm reading several bullet points in the article on $1.5 billion loan to restructure Holtec's Palisades nuclear plant. Sam Altman backed nuclear startup Oklo signs a agreement with Department of Energy for next phase of sitting in Idaho. Let's go to the next story here. Europe stocks up on LNG ahead of winter. The rare October jump in LNG imports was largely due to buyers stocking up on the fuel at ready prices at the end of summer. Once again, at the mercy of the winter weather, Europe took advantage of steady prices. China's LNG imports are estimated to have slightly declined in October from September, also because of gas storage nearing capacity. They had just built their biggest LNG gas facility and were filling it up. But I also think that they were filling it up, getting ready for war in case President Trump did not win the election. They might have invaded. The EU's gas storage sites are 95% full, while the 90% target was reached well ahead of the EU's self-imposed binding November 1 deadline. What you're going to see is a end to the Ukraine war, and if the EU wants to reindustrialize, they will start buying natural gas. You will see the Ukraine pipeline that is carrying Russian gas to Eastern Europe. You will see that contract renewed here very soon as well too. You have a choice. You can either reindustrialize or you're going to be voted out of office or you're going to have a government change hands. If you're a politician, you probably want to stay in power, so you're going to want to try to redo how the green mandates have deindustrialized the EU and Germany. Cheap natural Russian gas is about the cheapest way that you're going to be able to re-energize Europe or re-industrialize. So let's go to Russians' nuclear energy diplomacy explained. Kazakhstan recently a referendum approved the construction of a nuclear power plant, but the selection of the builder remains a complex geopolitical decision. Russia's Rosatom is a leading contender with a strong track record in building nuclear plants, but its involvement raises concerns about the dependence and security risks. I think that this may change with the end of the war coming up. Putin and Zelensky are already talking, I'm sure, with President Trump here fairly soon. I got a feeling that we will see this, and this will also become something. I think that when you take a look at Russia exporting its nuclear capabilities for nuclear power plants is a good thing. I think if the United States took note and actually exported its nuclear capabilities, like Westinghouse and partnering with South Korea, I think we need to help reduce the cost for electricity around everybody on the planet and put out as much nuclear power as we possibly can. But let's do it smartly. So, also, I think that there's going to be some huge investment opportunities coming around the corner. And I think people are also going to be taking a look about where do I put my money? And I think some of the best investments that you can take a look at is I personally have my money invested in oil and gas. I'm making about 32% and I'm investing in a EMP operator over at Pecos Operating. Go to the link in the notes and we'll hook you up with them and see if you like what kind of returns you have. Nothing wrong with a 98% tax deduction in your first year and then having about 32% annualized returns is what I'm on right now. So kind of like that mailbox money. So if you like mailbox money, go ahead and fill that out and look forward to visiting with you too. One other side note, I've also got 3 podcasts coming out with George McMillan, and these podcasts are very interesting around the world geopolitical scenario and what has happened with the academia world destroying information that is really needed if you're going to try to manage a world with geopolitical risks and energy. This is going to be a small series that you're going to be really wanting to listen to. And I know that several people in the administration probably want to hear this series as well too. So buckle up and enjoy. Thanks. Hope you have a great day. Talk to you all soon.